Hello and welcome to Sporting Park in Kansas City, Kansas, the site of tonight's 2015 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup round of 16 matchup between Sporting Kansas City and FC Dallas. I'm Nate Bucati along with Andy Greenabaum. Andy, this is a matchup we've already seen twice in MLS play this season. Should be a good one here tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, two very good teams, obviously missing a couple pieces on both sides, but I expect this to be a very good game, one that Sporting Kansas City feel like they can take 3 points from.
Let's talk about the pieces who will be participating in this match tonight. The starting lineups, first for the homestanding Sporting Kansas City, led by Peter Vermes as the head coach. Tim Melia in goal. The defenders, Amadou Dia, Matt Beasler, Kevin Ellis, and Jalil Anibaba. Beasler, of course, the captain. The midfield trio of Sony Mustavar in the holding role, and Roger Espinoza and Benny Feilhaber. And the attacking trio of Christian Namath, Dom Dwyer, and Jacob Peterson. For FC Dallas, head coach Oscar Pereira puts out a starting 11 that looks like this. Chris Seitz in goal. The defenders, Atiba Harris, Matt Hedges, Walker Zimmerman, and Moises Hernandez. Four midfielders today, Michelle and Javon Watson, along with Barrios and Ryan Hollingshead. And in the attacking duo, a little surprising here, Rolando Escobar, along with David Teixeira. So no Blas Perez, no Mauro Diaz, no Fabian Castillo for FC Dallas, no Graham Zusi for Sporting Kansas City. So not exactly a first-choice 11 for either side, but still a lot of first-team players on both teams here tonight.
Sure, and I think, for Sporting Kansas City, it's a lot closer to that first-choice kind of lineup. And I think the key to the game for Sporting will be attacking quickly, especially on the counterattack through the middle, because I think there's a lack of pace through that middle. So if you get some combination play and then work the ball out wide, or just that slashing run through the middle, I think that this FC Dallas team can be had with that little bit not as quick as they might as well otherwise be through that middle of the field. So that's what I'm looking for Sporting Kansas City on the attack. Defensively, I think this will be an FC Dallas side that's going to rely on a very direct style of play to Teixeira and Escobar working off of him. So something to watch out for is a lot of second balls tonight.
The winner of this match will take on the Houston Dynamo in the quarterfinals on July 21st or 22nd. If Sporting Kansas City happen to win this match tonight, they will host the Houston Dynamo on one of those two dates. Of course, FC Dallas just disposed of their in-state rival Houston 2-0 in MLS play in their last match. Sporting Kansas City have the benefit of not having a game coming up this weekend where FC Dallas are not afforded that luxury. So the schedule for the second time in a row in U.S. Open Cup play really playing in the favor of Peter Vermes and Sporting Kansas City.
That is very rarely the case, so Sporting need to take advantage of that fact.
Another great crowd here at Sporting Park, as we are just about set for soccer in the soccer capital of America. We are underway. Sporting Kansas City and FC Dallas, round of 16 action in the 2015 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Sporting Kansas City in their sporting blue and indigo blue stripes, while FC Dallas in the all-red uniforms. Kevin Ellis winning the header, but it's out for an FC Dallas throw-in. The referee tonight is Robert Sabiga, not a pro referee. So these will be officials that both these players for Sporting Kansas City and FC Dallas are not really familiar with. Comes across from Barrios, and it's out for an FC Dallas corner.
And I think that's a ball that Tim Melia wanted to come for and slipped on his first step. So a good safe play there by Kevin Ellis to clear it out. Maybe wanted to try and get it out for a throw-in, but a dangerous corner kick upcoming.
And a man who is dangerous with set pieces, the primary function he has on the field at this stage in his career, Michelle. We Very dangerous with the left foot, so he'll be taking the in-swinger here. Contact between Atiba Harris and Kevin Ellis right in front of goalkeeper Tim Melia. Now Michel to take it. Brazilian whips it in, and it's headed right off of the line by Dom Dwyer. A dangerous situation for Sporting Kansas City. It got over the goalkeeper Melia. Dwyer was right on the spot.
Sure wasn't the sharpest from Tim Melia, but that's what a lot of bodies in the box can do. I think FC Dallas, that's the game plan. They have a bit of a size advantage. As you take a look at this corner, Tim Melia just maybe bothered by a bit of that traffic in line and maybe didn't get a clear path to that ball. So something to watch for forthcoming.
I think that's one of the more underrated things that Dom Dwyer brings to the table, because you don't think of that as his job as the striker up top for this Sporting team, but he is very vital when it comes to defending corners oftentimes.
Yeah, he's the free man on the corner kicks defensively for Sporting Kansas City, and he attacks the ball really well. And I've spoke about this before on the broadcast a few weeks ago, that sometimes it can also be challenging when you have a guy like that. He can get in your way as a goalkeeper. It's very hard to hear the keeper call sometimes, and if you're coming for a ball and Dom Dwyer's attacking it as well, it can almost be detrimental.
Jacob Peterson flicks the header forward, but nobody there for Sporting Kansas City as we are 3 minutes in to this U.S. Open Cup matchup. Sporting Kansas City and FC Dallas. I mentioned earlier that these two teams have already seen one another twice this season, as they are once again conference rivals for the first time since 2004. The first time they matched up was in Frisco, Texas, and FC Dallas victorious in that game 3-1. The goal that turned out to be the game winner that put FC Dallas ahead for good was a controversial goal, as we counted as many as 5 players in an offside position leading to the goal that went uncalled, but they did add a goal after that for insurance. Who knows how the game turns out otherwise. And then in the return leg, Fabian Castillo was not available for FC Dallas. Sporting Kansas City took advantage of and dominated that game 4-0. Maybe the most complete performance by Sporting Kansas City of the entire season.
Yeah, it really was, and tonight will be a little bit different. You can already see FC Dallas bypassing the midfield with those long balls like we talked about.
Here's Christian Namath. He tries to slide it across, and it's cleared away by Matt Hedges. It will be a Sporting Kansas City corner as the Sporting Kansas City crowd applauds the build-up play from Sporting this time.
Yeah, it's a good look here. Good ball in, just a simple little ball. And Namath very good on the turn. He did that against FC Dallas previously.
Yes.
A couple hundred times in that game in the 4-0 win.
Zach Wood still having nightmares about that matchup. Feilhaber to take the corner. It's an in-swinger. And it finds the head of Dom Dwyer, and he pushes it in. Goal, Sporting Kansas City. It comes in the 5th minute, and just like that, the home side have opened a 1-0 lead. Almost too easy for Sporting Kansas City there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one guy we talked about on the defensive end, attacking the ball very well for Sporting Kansas City, ends up doing it like he's done a million times on the offensive end. What a ball in once again by Benny Feilhaber. This is what he's done all season long, and nobody's marking Dom Dwyer, who probably won't have an easier finish all year. Maybe he will, but he'll take that every time.
So for Dom Dwyer, that is his 6th goal on the season in all competitions, his first in U.S. Open Cup play this season. For Benny Feilhaber, that is his 2nd assist in U.S. Open Cup play. He had the assist on the only goal that Sporting Kansas City scored in their 1-0 victory over St. Louis FC. And that was an assist to Graham Zusi, but the form of Benny Feilhaber continues. Now 11 assists in all competitions for Sporting Kansas City's number 10, and he put that one right on the forehead of Dom Dwyer.
And Nate, we've talked about it so many times. It's so important for Sporting Kansas City at home to get after these teams and score early goals like this one, and especially in front of that unbelievable crowd in the Cauldron. If you get them all pumped up, it's going to make this half and especially the game very difficult for FC Dallas.
This time Walker Zimmerman wins the battle briefly against Dwyer, but now Peterson rising for the header against Hernandez. Mustavar stepping in front of the pass. Shakes off one defender, tried to play it over to Feilhaber, but the touch was just a little too heavy. But again, there's Sony Mustavar stepping in front and anticipating a pass so well. He flicked forward, but Namath couldn't get to it. Here's Watson working his way around Espinoza, trying to play Barrios through, and he's done so. Barrios with the cross, and it's flicked up and dangerously so by Kevin Ellis and out for a corner kick.
Yeah, we talked about this might be the game plan for FC Dallas all night long. It's one of those things that they're looking to play very direct with a high line that Sporting Kansas City play. Just a simple ball, and Barrios has a lot of speed, and I think this is a ball that maybe Tim Melia can come for. He elects not to. Dangerous ball in. Kevin Ellis doesn't know he has no pressure behind him. Another dangerous corner kick here.
And again, Michel to take it. This one toward the goal line. I think it was Roger Espinoza that got ahead to it. Right back out to Michel. Hernandez now trying to dump it back in. Bounces up right along the 18. Ellis and Beasler both going after it. Michel now plays it back to Javon Watson. He'll have a rip from about 30 yards out.
Well, in the end, no harm, but for me it looked like Hedges on the ball that got initially cleared, and FC Dallas had so many players forward. It looked to me like Hedges was in an offside position, but no call. Play moved on, and just an errant shot over the bar.
1-0 Sporting Kansas City. They got their goal in the 5th minute on a corner kick. Benny Feilhaber with the assist. Dom Dwyer headed it home. His 6th goal on the season in all competitions. Sporting Kansas City, the only team in MLS play with 3 players with 5 or more goals. Those 3 players being Christian Namath with 7, Dom Dwyer with 5 in MLS play, and Benny Feilhaber with 5 as well.
Well, after scoring 75 goals, I think Sporting needed to take a little bit of pressure off Dom Dwyer, because that performance from last year it's not repeatable. It's just, you can't expect a guy like Dom to continue to do that year in and year out. So it's great to see that there's so many contributions being made.
Dwyer setting the franchise record for goals in a season last year. Christian Namath has really been the player that has stepped up to alleviate some of that pressure and that burden on Dom Dwyer. But especially when Graham Zusi is out there, it almost seemed in the last matchup for Sporting Kansas City in their 2-0 victory this past weekend that Graham Zusi was receiving the majority of the attention from the opposing defense, which you can understand considering he's a U.S. men's national team player. He's done so many great things for Sporting Kansas City, but he has not been in the goal-scoring form that those other guys have. But it just goes to show you it makes it that much more difficult for other teams to decide which players they would like to try to eliminate from Sporting Kansas City's attack.
Yeah, and Sporting's front 5 moving forward, it's been so dangerous and effective at times that you really can't focus in on one player, because when the movement is on for this team, it's a very dynamic squad going forward.
And you can hear the crowd once again here between the Cauldron and the South Stand with the call and response of Sporting KC. We're seeing crowds here for early U.S. Open Cup action that you just haven't seen around the country in this competition at this stage.
Yeah,
of this
at this stage, not until the later stages you really see crowds like this. So, from last game against St. Louis to this one as well, I mean, it's just been so impressive. You expect nothing less from this hometown.
Television ratings for the U.S. women's national team match here in Kansas City again last night, the top-rated market in the entire country. The passion for soccer in this city has been demonstrated time and time again. And this U.S. Open Cup, another example. There's a nice turn from Christian Namath. This time, though, he is dispossessed by Walker Zimmerman. Ellis winning the header now. Mustafar heads it calmly towards Espinoza, but his touch lets him down. Beasley there to clean it up. Baba heads it forward, but it's out for a throw. But back to the attendance here in the U.S. Open Cup. Look, again, Kansas City has been at a different level from a market standpoint. But are we seeing the growth of this competition? I know it's something that U.S. Soccer has wanted for a long time, and it still has a long way to go to get to the levels of maybe some of these types of tournaments in other countries like the FA Cup. But are we starting to see that both from an interest from the fans' standpoint and an interest from the actual clubs? Because we've seen a lot of times in the past clubs that maybe haven't really been interested at all in trying to win this competition.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it presents a challenge through a long, grinding Major League Soccer regular season. So, you know, it's one of those things that you kind of pick and choose your poison. Maybe you throw out a B squad against the USL side. We've seen tons of upsets. Maybe you don't bid on that game and you go on the road. I've talked about that before. That can be very difficult. And, yeah, I think the structure of this tournament now, and it really has a unique feel. It had a unique feel already, so the structure is definitely in line, and I think this is heading in the right direction. And
a new format causing more geographic rivalries to take place earlier in this competition, which, for example, is why you saw Sporting Kansas City taking on St. Louis in the last round and FC Dallas in this round. Now the brackets are set the rest of the way through this competition. That's why we know, as I stated earlier, that Sporting Kansas City will take on the Houston Dynamo, who were victorious yesterday over the Colorado Rapids in the next round. The winner of this match will take on Houston in the next round. And then on the other side of this bracket, you've got Real Salt Lake, Portland facing one another tonight, and then San Jose and the LA Galaxy as we take a look at the foul from Javon Watson. But so we know what the brackets are the rest of the way in this competition. And
now it's all about taking care of business, and Sporting can host the rest of these, hopefully.
Kansas City with a 1-0 lead. They got the goal in the 5th minute. It was Dom Dwyer off of a corner kick. And now another foul against FC Dallas. This one will go against Michel. Captain Matt Beasley. Mustavar flicking it forward, and he is fouled. Now we're going to see yellow, and I think that's just for persistent infringement.
Yeah, persistent. But, you know, to be fair, it's a heavy touch from Mustavar, who doesn't play probably as quick as he probably should have, that sets Michel up. And you know, Michel's lost a bit of a step. That's a bit of a reckless challenge, and couple times, and persistence, and yellow card.
Again, Robert Sabiga, the head official today. First yellow of the match. It goes against Michel in the 15th minute. Hollingshead bracketed between Anibaba and Feilhaber, and Feilhaber wins it. Back to Ellis. He's under pressure from Rolando Escobar, and a foul on Escobar. About 5 straight fouls against FC Dallas here. Barrios plays it back to Zimmerman. And out of sight's the keeper. Espinoza chests it down. Back heel looking for Feilhaber, who didn't quite anticipate it. Oh, there was a chance right there to send Hollingshead through. Anibaba anticipated the pass and was there to break it up. Other scores from the U.S. Open Cup so far: the New York Red Bulls in a different sort of New York derby against the New York Cosmos. Red Bulls leading 2-1. And make it 3-1 now, Red Bulls. Cosmos, the only non-MLS team left in the competition after the Charlotte Independents were knocked out by the Chicago Fire last night. Now the Cosmos look to be nearing the end of their run. I understand Sasha Klushin had a PK in the 54th minute to make it 3-1 in favor of the Red Bulls. Your old buddy Sal Zizzo had a goal apparently in that game, Andy.
Love to hear that. Good old Sal. Everybody misses the Benny Feilhaber show featuring Sal Zizzo.
Some would argue that Sal was as integral of a part of that show as anybody.
I mean, probably should have been the host, in my opinion, but you still see T-shirts all over Kansas City all the time.
Another free kick for Sporting Kansas City here in the 18th minute. It'll be Benny Feilhaber to take it. Feilhaber has an effort this time, but puts it right into the arms of Chris Seitz.
Yeah, relatively easy save there from Seitz.
But now Feilhaber dispossesses Watson. Namath chipping for the back post. Peterson has a go, but it's saved nicely by Seitz, who came sliding across his line. Peterson thought he had the goal, but he was denied by Chris Seitz.
To a relatively amazing save from Chris Seitz. Great footwork to get across. What a ball. Good dispossession there from Benny Feilhaber. Great ball in. Jake Peterson busting it to get to that far post. Lunging. Unbelievable save from Chris Seitz.
Jacob Peterson has been on the end of a few opportunities this year where he's almost got to be asking himself, what does he got to do
exactly
to find the back of the net? The game at DC United comes to mind. Bill Hamid made an amazing touch save.
Great ball in here by Namath. Oh, you can just see he knows he has one, and what a save there. All you do is you get across, you make yourself as big as possible. Great save, Chris Seitz.
And there's a little bit of a commotion in the press box because a baby hawk and some of its family members literally came down and landed almost in the lap of Ike Opara, who's sitting right in front of us.
Well, Ike's a very friendly guy, and, you know, why not?
Well,
I've never seen a grown man jump up like that, though. I'll tell you that much.
You know, they've said we get a bird's eye view from up here in the press box.
Oh, there you go. It's a bit cheesy, but I'll take it.
Well, here comes a set piece for FC Dallas, by the way, in the midst of all that. In the 20th minute, Michel will put his left foot through it. And it's skied by Rolando Escobar.
Well, it's not a bad idea. You've had a couple corners from that side, and it's really kind of forced Sporting into the mindset that this ball is getting drilled in on top of Tim Melia, so why not lay it off? Just the execution in the end wasn't the best.
Namath is able to shrug off the challenge from Atiba Harris. Feilhaber looking for Namath. Can he bring it down? He's at least able to keep it in. Now Namath looking for Dwyer. Flex up into the air and out for a Sporting Kansas City corner. Well, Christian Namath absolutely destroyed FC Dallas almost single-handedly the last time these two teams faced up with those moves with his back to goal. And he's doing it again so far tonight.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that was Atiba Harris just trying to play overly aggressive, and Namath, very smart, uses his body to turn and create a dangerous opportunity for Sporting.
Well, no doubt Atiba Harris is aware of what happened to Zach Lloyd last time around and maybe trying to prevent it by being aggressive.
You want to get touched tight to him, make sure he doesn't have an easy turn, but that time just got a little bit late.
Here comes the corner from Feilhaber. This time he was looking for Kevin Ellis, who couldn't get to it. Kevin Ellis scored his lone MLS goal of his career against FC Dallas. and had one heck of a touching tribute after doing so, showing the shirt that had the hashtag Go Kit Go. Kit, a toddler who he has befriended through the Victory Project, who is battling leukemia, took her out on the field when the players did the walkout with some young Sporting Kansas City fans. Pretty touching, the relationship that Kevin and Kit have formed. It was neat for him scoring that goal and immediately doing some, paying some tribute to Kit. Zimmerman wins the header. Here's Escobar. Espinoza comes flying over to knock it out. A midfield triangle for Sporting Kansas City of Escobar, Feilhaber, and Mustavar. How good have they been this season?
Well, on both sides of the ball as well. I think that they've really found that identity that Sporting have come to know and have enjoyed success with, and I think that it's a real testament to this coaching staff because of all the changes and how hard that is to implement this system. It took a while to get going, but I think it's in full effect.
And I think that one of the real strengths of Peter Vermees when it comes to that is not just finding the talent, but finding the talent to fit together. Here comes a cross whipped in that is dealt with by Kevin Ellis, but it is out for a corner. But when it comes to those pieces fitting, when you look at a midfield triangle like that, three guys that seem to be perfectly suited for their specific roles. Mustavar sitting in front of that back line. Feilhaber now freed up to pull the strings the way that he has. And then Roger Espinoza just going box to box the way that he is so capable of doing. But here comes a corner for FC Dallas. And it's headed right over the top of the crossbar by Ryan Hollingshead. And one thing, despite the fact that Sporting Kansas City are leading this game, they won't be happy about the number of opportunities they have been giving up on set pieces and corners already in this match.
Yeah, what a ball in here. Just such a dangerous ball. Goalkeeper can't come from a good run in. Tacks the ball just over the bar, but it not only just the amount of corners, but the plays that have been leading up to these corners. We've seen Kevin Ellis make 3 or 4 essentially goal-saving challenges that that have gone out for a corner. So FC Dallas not going away.
To paint the picture for you from a weather standpoint here, there's been some severe weather in and around the Kansas City metropolitan area today. There is a towering thunderhead cloud that is just hovering over the east side of the stadium here. So anybody who's standing or sitting on the west side can see this just enormous thunderhead cloud that seems to be going thousands and thousands of feet up into the sky. It's kind of an ominous picture in the backdrop.
Can't wait to drive home in that.
But so far, all is clear, knock on wood, here in western Kansas City, Kansas. Pretty nice night considering it's July. Right here, I should say. Spoiler alert for those of you that maybe are TiVoing the Women's World Cup semifinal that was taking place and it just wrapped up. Again, spoiler alert. We
give them a chance to turn off the sound
volume down
real quick
for a moment, but we'll give you the score. It was Japan 2, England 1, as Japan got an own goal from England apparently in the 92nd minute. So the United States will be taking on Japan with a chance for revenge in the World Cup final on Sunday. Here comes another dangerous cross from FC Dallas, headed away by Kevin Ellis. What an American weekend it'll be, Andy Greenebaum. Independence Day on Saturday, U.S. Women's National Team going for World Cup glory on Sunday. There will be another huge watch party down in the Power and Light District in Kansas City, Missouri. Great attendance at that event last night. And 4 members of FCKC representing the United States in that match on Sunday. And the players for the U.S. women's team that have a chance at redemption here that were a part of that team 4 years ago that lost to Japan, you've got to think they'll be extremely anxious for Sunday evening to come. 6 o'clock for the kickoff of that game.
Should be a great one. It was amazing to see just how many people came out to support at Power and Light this past game. And you know, I was there, you were hosting. Great event.
Post-game show afterwards took tons of calls. Here in the U.S. Open Cup, it's Sporting Kansas City 1, FC Dallas 0, but FC Dallas have looked dangerous at times here in the first half. It's Barrios trying to sell the foul, and referee Robert Sabiga is unimpressed. And I think that he saw that one correctly, at least from my vantage point.
Well, it was definitely close. Barrios with the speed, cutting back, and right on the edge of the box as well, so it would have been a tough decision either way.
Now Christian Namath knocked down.
So you can see
Barrios pushing off a little bit at first.
As he cuts back, I think he might just lose his footing there, so it's a pretty good call there by the official.
Namath playing Roger Espinoza through. Espinoza with the one-time cross. And it's right into the stomach of Atiba Harris and out for a Sporting Kansas City corner.
You know, we've talked about how many people have slipped, how many players have slipped on this field, and as the summer months go and the humidity here, you can see the chunks of grass coming up, and I think that could play a role. If a referee maybe thinks in his head that that could have been a foul, it could have just been, you know, players slipping under it, so something to watch for.
It appeared to me that Barrios intentionally lost his footing on that one.
Oh, you think so? Huh?
Yep. This one taken short this time to Namath. Now back to Feilhaber. And now Amadou Dia. His touch was too heavy, and Michel was able to break it up. Dia, the rookie, with the throw-in. Namath is fouled from behind, and he is just a nightmare with his back to goal.
Well, Atiba Harris is a very physical player and clearly concerned about Namath's ability to turn, so it's only a matter of time, and you can see Atiba Harris getting a talking to now.
Another Zach Lloyd last time around, Atiba Harris this time around.
You see,
they have to be wondering what is the proper way to approach Christian Namath when he's got his back to goal.
Well,
like
I
that.
think it's really, you can tell the referee's calling a bit of a tighter game when it comes to that kind of play, so you have to be careful, especially with a guy like Christian Namath.
What is it about Namath? He's so good at holding up the ball and also turning, though, over either shoulder.
It's all in the hips. He's got Shakira-like hips.
His hips do not lie.
A lot of yoga, probably.
Hips don't lie. Free kick from Feilhaber. Headed toward the goal, and it's into the back of the net, and it's Dom Dwyer again. Sporting Kansas City 2, FC Dallas 0. Dom Dwyer connecting both times on set pieces from Benny Feilhaber, and Sporting Kansas City have taken control in the first half.
Well, it's like a game of around the world in basketball. Now, Dom Dwyer scoring from the corner kick earlier. Now you move the ball out. Another dangerous set piece. This is what we call going fishing for Chris Seitz. He comes out, he's just a little bit late. Dom Dwyer with an easy tap in with his head. Another great ball in by Benny Feilhaber. You can see Seitzy coming for it. Doesn't get enough push off his first couple steps. Late to the ball. Easy finish for Dom Dwyer.
So now for Dom Dwyer. 2 goals in this match, both on assists from Benny Feilhaber. For Dwyer on the season now, 7 goals in all competitions. 5 in MLS play, 2 now in the U.S. Open Cup. And both headed goals for Dom Dwyer on set pieces. And for Feilhaber, he continues to have a career year when it comes to setting up his teammates for goals. 9 assists in MLS play for Feilhaber is already a career high in his MLS career. And now he's got 3 assists in U.S. Open Cup play on top of that.
Well, I think very highly of Chris Seitz, but he used the wrong bait on that one. Just came up empty there.
be a sadistic pleasure you take in other goalkeepers going fishing?
I've been there too. You just got to move on, and I'm sure Sightsy with the next action will want to get it right.
Hernandez coming down the left-hand side for FC Dallas was able to touch his way around Anibaba, but couldn't keep it in. Look at all that traffic there. Dom Dwyer somehow able to be the one player in all of that who gets his head to it and puts it right into the back of the net.
But it's just the way he attacks the ball. He's so dynamic in his approach and just relentless in his approach to the ball as well, and just a handful to deal with.
Hedges has been marking him, or
I will say 1 out of 2 times. I don't think anybody was.
Nobody was marking him the first time.
There you go.
But Hedges at 6'4" and Sights, the goalkeeper, at 6'3", and able to use his hands. Dom Dwyer at 5'9".
Well, yeah, I'll defend Hedges here though, because there's clearly a goalkeeper call here. So as a defender, what you're taught to do is try and help your goalkeeper out, fend off any forwards coming into the box, and that was not the case. Chris Sights misjudges it, and Dom Dwyer gets it with the back of his head.
Hedges is really trying to push his way for more and more consideration with the U.S. men's national team. Both he and Matt Beasler might be a little disappointed. We know Beasler is disappointed not being called to the Gold Cup. For Sporting Kansas City, you'd have to argue that Beasler is in the best form he's been in since returning from the World Cup last year. It's a long-distance effort from Javon Watson. There's little trouble for Melia, and he quickly distributes the ball to Christian Nemeth.
Well, I think that was Atiba Harris, and Amadou Dia he made the right decision to not step to Atiba because it was two-on-one situation. So they drop off Beasler, Kevin Ellis sliding over, Dia dropping off the 18, allowing Atiba Harris to beat you from long range. If he does so, hats off to him. But you can allow that. I'm sure Tim Melia will take that all day long, and great distribution from Tim Melia as well.
Kansas City already have struck twice in this half, and they're looking for more. Here's Amadou Dia getting forward. Taken away by Watson this time. Now Harris. Watson. Matt Hedges. When you're a road team in this U.S. Open Cup competition, we've talked about whether or not the motivation is there oftentimes for teams. And when you play a game, you want to win. But you have to wonder, the fact that this FC Dallas team is shorthanded in the first place coming in here with no Blas Perez, no Mauro Diaz, no Fabian Castillo. You get them down 3 goals, you just have to wonder, can you just take the life away from this team?
Well, I think what you worry about then is how chippy the game becomes. If they go down another goal, FC Dallas, there's some players on there that I question the motives of their tackle at that point, of their tackles. Guys like Atiba Harris, I'll single him out.
Harris is getting forward down the right-hand side, but Dallas now instead trying to enjoy some possession. Barrios measuring up on Ibaba. Now Michel looks for the switch to Harris. Harris crosses it in. Beasler knocks it out, but another FC Dallas corner.
Such a good clearance by Matt Beasler to recover there. Got his footwork just right there, and he had to. Atiba Harris isolates Amadou Dia one-on-one. And you have to give him somewhat of respect. You don't want to dive in and have him jump right by you, but a great early ball in behind that back four. Matt Beasler just does better.
Said it earlier, Beasler has really been in the best form he's been in since coming back from the World Cup last year. He was banged up after that World Cup.
I think he just feels rested, and his mental state is so much better.
He was exhausted after starting in every one of those matches, traveling all over Brazil, tearing his hamstring in the process. Michel whipping this one in again. And it's Roger Espinoza to win the header this time. But to further that point, go ahead.
Oh, no, Roger does very well there, holding that near post, FC Dallas trying to get traffic involved.
Here's Hollingshead trying to cut toward the end line, and it's out for a Sporting Kansas City goal kick. To go back to the point about Beasler and his form, though, I really think you have to look at it for the entire team. And this Sporting Kansas City defense, even with Iko Para suffering that injury, they've had 7 shutouts in 10 home games this season and 9 shutouts overall. It's been really good, especially once the additions of Tim Melia and Sonny Mustavar to the lineup have come around. This team has been back to that old Sporting Kansas City form defensively.
I think you said it. Tim Melia has brought this team a lot of confidence. Sonny Mustavar just doing the grunt work, and a lot of it, we recognize it, but a lot of the, the average viewers don't really recognize it because it's not the sexiest of positions.
Feilhaber taken down. To look up how many fouls we have seen go against FC Dallas right in the midfield along that halfway line so far. Sporting Kansas City 2, FC Dallas 0. Both goals from Dom Dwyer, one in the 5th minute off a corner, and then the other one in the 30th minute off a set piece, both coming from Benny Feilhaber. This time Beasler was looking for the run of Jacob Peterson. Doesn't quite come off. Sporting Kansas City are off this coming weekend, which allows players like Dom Dwyer and Servando Carrasco perhaps to go watch the U.S. Women's Final. I don't know if they have plans to do so or not. I don't know if they'll be free to go. But they don't have a game to worry about this weekend, and their wives will be playing for the World Cup Championship. For the World Cup, I should say.
I know what you meant.
But after that for Sporting Kansas City, chance to take on Vancouver Whitecaps for the first time this season. And that could be a big matchup for the Western Conference standings. Here comes Sporting Kansas City again. Espinoza looking for Dwyer. Dwyer is knocked to the ground from behind by Hernandez. It came right along the 18, and I believe we're going to have a penalty for Sporting Kansas City. Robert Sabiga has pointed to the spot. And we'll have to take another look to see where exactly the contact happened. To me, not much of a question as to whether or not this was a foul. The question for me is, where was the foul? Boy, right on the line.
Yeah, it's right on the line. I think, this is a penalty for me. And Dom Dwyer, once again, wreaking all sorts of havoc. I think it's right on the line in the box. Penalty for me.
Moises Hernandez was the guilty party. And Dom Dwyer is going to take it looking for the hat trick. Benny Feilhaber has been taking the penalties for Sporting Kansas City ever since Dom Dwyer was denied a penalty opportunity by Chris Seitz in the second match of the season in Frisco, Texas. Maybe one of the real turning points in that 3-1 loss for Sporting Kansas City. So a chance for Dom Dwyer to get the hat trick and exercise that demon right here. In the 41st minute, it's Dwyer with the left foot, and it's Sporting Kansas City 3, FC Dallas 0. Dom Dwyer with a U.S. Open Cup hat trick, all in the first half here at Sporting Park.
Well, interesting that Dom Dwyer looking for that hat trick. It's Benny Feilhaber giving him the opportunity to do so. We know that Benny Feilhaber's been taking these. Dom Dwyer goes coolly to his left, sending Chris Seitz the wrong way. Nothing he can do. Good finish by Dom Dwyer, Sporting up 3-0 now.
Just minutes before the close of the first half, Sporting Kansas City seem to have all but taken a stranglehold on this round of 16 matchup against FC Dallas. Dwyer with goals in the 5th minute, the 30th minute, and now the 41st minute. Dwyer was offside this time. I mentioned earlier the fouls. 10 fouls against FC Dallas in the first half, or committed by FC Dallas in the first half. Just 3 by Sporting Kansas City. We've seen a yellow card for FC Dallas. We've seen them give away a penalty now. Mustavar wins the header. Espinoza. He had the pass that set Dwyer up for that last penalty. Kept in by Hedges this time. Feilhaber forward to Namath. The nifty back heel flicked forward to himself, but just a little too heavy, and knocked out by Zimmerman.
And you can see Matt Beasler trying to take control of this game by telling Amadou Dia to slow things down. The last thing you want to do if you're Sporting is go forward unnecessarily with a 3-0 lead before halftime and give something cheap away. So see this half out, regroup, make sure that you don't give anything away.
And it could be tempting for a team that's already up 3-0 for guys to start inching forward and trying to get in on the fun. It's been the Dom Dwyer party so far. But you've still got to stay responsible. A lot of time left in this match. Watson trying to turn on Espinoza. Dealt with easily by Ellis. Feilhaber and Hollingshead collide. Nothing called this time. So Espinoza flicks it through to Namath. Namath tried to touch it around Zimmerman, but well tackled by the FC Dallas defender.
And Hollingshead wondering why he didn't get a call there, and I somewhat agree with him.
Right.
We haven't seen many fouls from Sporting Kansas City, but that certainly looked like one to me.
Dying embers of the first half. It's been all Sporting Kansas City, at least on the scoreboard. FC Dallas have had a couple of moments where they've looked dangerous, but Sporting Kansas City on set pieces, leading at 3-0. All 3 goals by Dom Dwyer. Will be 2 minutes of added time here at the end of the first half. Sporting Kansas City in possession, in control, 3-0. Feilhaber now flicking it forward to Peterson, who is onside. Peterson cutting into the box. Back to Namath. Namath coolly slots it in, and the route is on in Kansas City, Kansas. Sporting Kansas City 4, FC Dallas 0, and we're not even at halftime yet.
Well, Nate, Moises Hernandez bites hard on this one and allows Jake Peterson to get behind. And Jake does the right thing here. He drives towards the goal, and then Namath just kind of keeps that run going towards the middle for an easy cutback ball and a great finish. Good ball. Great ball over the top initially, and a good run by Jake Peterson. As you can see the ball over the top, Hernandez just bites, leaves that space in behind, leaves FC Dallas playing on the back 4, and they're dropping off, which allows that space in front for that cutback ball. Easy finish here for Namath.
That entire sequence looked far too easy for Sporting Kansas City. So now 3 goals from Dom Dwyer, another goal from Christian Nemeth. It was 4-0 the last time these two teams faced off here at Sporting Park. And it's 4-0 again. We still have another 45 minutes plus stoppage time to play. Here's Hollingshead. Beasler able to shield off Escobar that time. I'm sorry, shield off Teixeira that time until Mealy was able to pounce on it.
That wasn't as easy as it looked. Tim Mealy with the quick explosive steps to get there, and Beasler fending off Teixeira.
And halftime is here. It was all Sporting Kansas City over the first 45 minutes. Christian Nemeth with the cherry on top. He scored the 4th goal. Dom Dwyer with the hat trick in the first half. Goals in the 5th minute, 30th minute, and then a PK for Dwyer in the 41st. This was the first goal from Dom Dwyer right here on the corner from Benny Feilhaber. Then on the set piece from Feilhaber, it was Dwyer. Then on the penalty, Dom Dwyer to take it, sending sights the wrong way. And then Peterson setting up Christian Nemeth for the 4th goal of this first half. Sporting Kansas City 4, FC Dallas 0. We'll be back with the second half from Sporting Park in just a little bit. We'll do them. Tom Dwyer has the first ever first half hat trick in Sporting Kansas City franchise history in any competition. It's also the first ever hat trick in U.S. Open Cup competition in franchise history. Dom Dwyer with goals in the 5th minute, the 30th minute, and the 41st minute on the PK after that foul by Moises Hernandez, and Dwyer allowed to take it, in some ways poetically, against Chris Seitz, who denied his penalty attempt in the second game of the season for Sporting Kansas City. After that point, it's really been Benny Feilhaber taking all the penalties for Sporting. And then Christian Nemeth with the 4th goal that has really put this game out of hand, and still Andy Greenbaum 45 minutes to play.
Yeah, and if you're Sporting Kansas City, you just want to make sure that you handle the next 45 minutes in a very intelligent way. Keep the ball moving, maintain possession, and if there's an opportunity to go for it, take it, but don't force anything. Make sure you don't give anything away, and just try and get off the field in one piece.
And we are going to see the first substitution of the match for FC Dallas as Victor Ulloa will come into the game, replacing Moises Hernandez. This is one of those games where I'm guessing at this point Oscar Pareja, whose team does have to play a game this coming weekend, would just as soon he had 9 subs at his disposal as opposed to just 3. And maybe both coaches would feel that way now. But still, they're going to have to play the next 45 minutes regardless. Just about set for the second half. FC Dallas in possession to begin the second half here at Sporting Park, with Sporting Kansas City in control 4-0. Abe Bucati along with Andy Greenbaum at Sporting Park in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, and it looks to me that FC Dallas will play with three at the back, try and push numbers forward. Ulloa, a very defensive-minded midfielder. Very good on the ball, doesn't give it away, very simple. Logged a lot of minutes for this team in MLS play.
Michel playing it down the left-hand side, looking for Hollingshead. Hollingshead crosses it in, headed out by Beasler and then by Ellis. And Jacob Peterson coming all the way back. Plays it forward to Dwyer. Now Espinoza. And some space for Christian Nemeth down the left-hand side. Nemeth keeps it in. Not much support for Nemeth. Dwyer making the run, though. Nemeth tries to play it through. Seitz able to cover.
But what a ball out by Roger Espinoza. Great technique to hit that on the half volley, or sidewinder, I should say, out to Nemeth, streaking down that left side.
Now Peterson. Oh, vicious sliding challenge that time from Watson. It's a clean tackle. Jacob Peterson has some words for Watson. Now, you mentioned the tackles. This was not a foul, by the way, according to Robert Sabiga. But you mentioned that this could get a little chippy when it's 4-0. And right now I think Sabiga is going to have a word with Jacob Peterson to tell him to calm down. So we take another look at it. Do you have any problems with that tackle from Watson?
You know, it looked pretty vicious, and especially we talk about that turf coming up. But it looked to me like he did get the ball, but did he go through the player in the process? The referee says no.
It is a corner for Sporting Kansas City. Scored off of one of these already today. Now Dom Dwyer and I believe it's Zimmerman getting tangled up. Jacob Peterson still limping pretty noticeably on that left leg after that tackle. Feilhaber puts it in, and this one goes off the forehead of Kevin Ellis and over the crossbar. He felt he should have put that one on frame.
Yeah, he did, and Dom Dwyer drawing so much attention from Zimmerman, who finally has a hold of him, makes sure he doesn't have a fourth, but it's Kevin Ellis coming in behind, just hits it over.
Do you notice the wristband, by the way, on Kevin Ellis? There we get another look at it. Just put it over the crossbar, right along the 6.
Sure, I just noticed it. What about it?
Little patriotism.
Is that what's going on?
It
I didn't
appears
see.
to me to be an American flag wristband.
Okay, all right.
Stars and stripes, supporting the women's national team.
I thought you were going somewhere
imagine.
with it, but there you go.
I just noticed it. I don't know. Pointing things out here. That's what we do, Andy Greenebaum. Important things like wristband selection.
I'll let you get away with that with the 4th of July coming.
Jacob Peterson is still down, and I think that's why we see him so angry after that tackle. Whether or not it was a bad challenge from Javon Watson, Jacob Peterson, a player who has to fight for every minute of playing time that he gets.
And that's his style of play as well, and you hate to see it. It was a very vicious tackle, and I'm not saying there was any ill will there, but you can see Jake got up. He was not happy about it.
He does not want to come out of this game.
He's still upset, and he thought that was dirty. You can see him yelling.
He's having words with Watson right now, is waving him off. Now Feilhaber's getting into it with Watson as well. Peterson's day is done. He'll be replaced by the rookie Saad Abdul Salam for substitution for Sporting Kansas City. And that's what we talked about. Look, at this point when it's 4-0, the result of this game is all but done and dusted. And the question for both teams is just trying to get really to the end of this match with everybody healthy. Hopefully for Jacob Peterson, nothing serious. And we just had a case in the New York Red Bulls versus New York Cosmos game where New York Red Bulls had a player who was stretchered off with what looked to be a very nasty leg injury.
Yeah, it was possibly a broken leg in that game. And I like what Dom Dwyer did just then, though. He comes back, and it's a fair challenge from Dom, but it was on Javon Watson. He makes sure that he knows he's coming. It wasn't dirty, but he did get all the ball as well.
Set piece coming up for FC Dallas in the 51st minute. Michel whipping in the cross. And he found the forehead of Javon Watson, but he pushed it wide. In case you were wondering, it was Duvall who suffered the leg injury in the New York Red Bulls match. He stretched it off in that game. We don't have a report on how severe that injury was, but it certainly did not look good looking at the highlights over halftime. Escobar tried to slide that one through to Atiba Harris, but it was broken up nicely by the back line of Sporting Kansas City. Saad Abdul Salam came in to replace Jacob Peterson. He's playing out on the wing now. We've seen him play there once earlier this year, but he was drafted to play right back, not in an attacking role for Sporting Kansas City. There's a ball on the pitch, so we'll have to retake the throw-in.
Did we not see him at left back as well?
We saw him at left back in the last game against Colorado Rapids.
So playing a lot of different roles for this team, which is great to see.
Two of Sporting Kansas City's left backs are unavailable right now as Marcel de Jong is off at the Gold Cup with the Canadian national team, and Sesanovic still trying to work his way back from that concussion that he suffered in the DC United game.
Yeah, we saw Will Trapp come back from Columbus after concussion problems himself. That was almost 3 months, so hopefully Seth can get back on the field because, you know, he's a mainstay at that left back position and fan favorite as well.
Sinovic told me he just basically has one part of the protocol left that he has to clear before he can play, but after the scare that they had where he came back in that game not showing any symptoms, it wasn't until almost a week later that he suffered them. So two rookie fullbacks, and Amadou Dia and Saad Abdul Salam will likely be asked to do some work here over the next month while the Gold Cup is going on, especially at least until Seth Sinovic is ready to play again.
And you know, Nate, that is why the fact that they have played significant minutes up to this point is such a benefit for them and this team moving forward, because now you're not just throwing young players into the mix in a vital part of the season. These guys have seen the field for this team, and that's huge.
Feilhaber called for the foul there, didn't like it, thought that he had pulled up, and you could say he had a case there. But the fouls have been drastically in favor of Sporting Kansas City. The last three in a row, though, have gone against Sporting. 10-6 is the tally now. Watson let it run. Abdul Salam is able to shield him off until it goes out for a throw. Sporting Kansas City with 4 goals in the first half. 3 from Dom Dwyer and 1 from Christian Nemeth. They have been the 2 main goal scorers for Sporting Kansas City so far this season. It continues here in U.S. Open Cup play. Again, the winner taking on Houston Dynamo if this score stands. It would be Sporting Kansas City hosting the Dynamo either on the 21st or 22nd of this month. Mustavar. Now Dia chesting it down. Feilhaber. It's Nemeth.
Oh, and if Espinoza can play Dom Dwyer first time instead of taking a touch, we might be looking at a 5th.
Nemeth looks for Dwyer this time. He was offside. He was dealt with by Atiba Harris anyway.
It's phenomenal ball movement, though, from Sporting Kansas City. When you're down 4-0, and then you have, on top of that, you're chasing the ball the entire half, it can be extremely frustrating. And that's the way to close out games.
Espinoza into a challenge with Michel. Espinoza called for the foul. Michel wanted to take it a little farther up the pitch than.
Which I think it's irrelevant.
Yeah, right.
I mean, when it's
Are we worried
75
about that at this
yards
point?
away, I mean, just let them have it. It's one of my pet peeves when referees do that. I mean, the matter of 3 yards, 75 yards from the other goal.
There are places where that can matter, but like
Sure,
you said, in that area, in this situation. Here's Ulloa. Came on at halftime for FC Dallas. Abdul Salam breaks it up. And something could be on for Sporting Kansas City now. Espinoza through to Nemeth. Nemeth looking for Dwyer. Can Dwyer get there? He can, but so can Seitz, who came sliding across. Look, Chris Seitz has given up 4 goals in this game, but he's also made a couple of spectacular saves for FC Dallas.
Well, yeah, it's a simple break here. Easy ball in. Nemeth just plays it across, and Seitz does what he did in the first half, just gets across and closes that angle. It's almost impossible for Dom Dwyer to get it by from that angle if Chris Seitz stays big, which he does. Phenomenal save there from Chris Seitz.
Trainer's coming out to check on Walker Zimmerman of FC Dallas right now. I have to confess, I did not see what happened to Zimmerman. He's going to be taken off the field now. I'm not sure what the issue is with Zimmerman.
Yeah, I didn't see either, Nate, but we talk about this happened in New England. when a goalkeeper that doesn't play a lot of minutes, and Seitz has put in some valuable minutes for this team and is considered a #1 in this league as well, and then to come into a game that you actually get to play in and give up 4, it can be tough.
For me, I feel like maybe he had a hand in that goal where he went fishing on the second goal of the match when Dom Dwyer scored. He came out for it, he missed. But I don't know that there was much he could have done about the other 3. Maybe you feel differently.
No, I agree. I agree with you. He's made a couple big saves.
And here's Namath trying to chip it over, and it's into the back of the net for Sporting Kansas City. Will Dom Dwyer get the credit for this? I believe Hedges got his head to it. Was that headed toward the goal or not? That will be the determining factor in whether or not this is a goal for Christian Namath or an own goal against Hedges. Namath is claiming it. He chipped it over Seitz. He certainly did that part. Was that headed across the line, in your opinion, Andy Greenbaum?
Look, I don't know, but he's just having fun now. I mean, the fact that he would even attempt this is just phenomenal for Christian Namath and the confidence that this brings. But what a chip. This is just an empty feeling for Chris Seitz right here. You can take a look. Namath controls it. What technique.
I think that's a goal. I believe that's headed to the goal.
To me, that's a goal as well, and what an empty feeling that must be. Just watching this. It's not like he's in a bad spot. That's just unbelievable technique right there. Maybe you can argue that he could pull away from his post a little bit and cheat it when the ball's bouncing like that, but that's nitpicking, and what a finish from Christian Namath.
And we've got a substitution for Matt Hedges. That was his last touch of the ball game, and that's got to be an empty feeling for him as he's replaced now by Kellen Acosta. This thing is absolutely opened up here in Kansas City, Kansas. 5-0 Sporting Kansas City over FC Dallas. And if you're wondering about the biggest margin of victory
Here we go.
in U.S. Open Cup history,
Here we go.
you might be able to take your name out of that record book
I'm
here,
hoping
Andy
so.
Greenbaum, because the only other margin of victory at this level of 5 goals was a 6-1 victory back a few years ago.
I might have dug the ball out of the net 5 or 6 times in that game.
The Des Moines Menace were the victims.
Des Moines Menace, 4th round, Park University, three penalty kicks and 3 breakaways later, and I'm seeing a therapist.
FC Dallas now try to get in the scoring column themselves on a free kick here. I think it was Ellis that got ahead to it.
Tell you what, he's been phenomenal tonight with these clearances. And ever since, we've talked about him coming back and taking over the starting spot again, and he's just risen to the occasion time after time.
Forced into the lineup when Iko Para suffered the Achilles tear. And then the youngster, Eric Palmer-Brown, started getting some time as Ellis maybe was not playing at his best at first. But then once Palmer-Brown went off with the U20s, the World Cup, Ellis was put back in the role and has really done a heck of a job for Sporting Kansas City. And here's Barrios, and he fires it into the back of the net and goes and claims the ball. But FC Dallas has at least put themselves in the score sheet now to make it 5-1 in the 62nd minute. It was Michael Barrios finding too much space inside the area.
Hey, this is phenomenal from FC Dallas to just not even give up. Okay, you're down 5-0. Let's just try and get back into it 1 goal at a time, or just find some positives from this game. And the ball movement leaves Sporting Kansas City's pressure behind, and a great 1-2 leads to a goal. Phenomenal build-up from FC Dallas. Credit to them for not giving up in this game. It's so easy to turn off.
Substitution for Sporting Kansas City. Paulo Nagamura will come in for Benny Feilhaber. Feilhaber has certainly put in a lot of work already this season for Sporting Kansas City, so a well-deserved rest for him.
And it's demoralizing for me personally, Nate, because now, you know, I think
you're back in the record book.
I'm back in the record book, which it hurts. It hurts.
So yes, it was. Was it Sporting Kansas City at that time, or was it
the Wizards?
The Wizards at that time, knocking off the Des Moines Menace 6-1 in U.S. Open Cup play. That now stands again as the largest margin of victory in a U.S. Open Cup match for Sporting Kansas City. But still, almost a half an hour to play in this one, so things I suppose could change again.
And I got to experience what it was like to play against a longtime teammate of mine in Will Hesmer. And the other side, he was playing for the Wizards at the time, so I played with him in Columbus for a lot of years, and we joke about that game from time to time.
Paulo Nagamura's first action in this match is to commit a foul, and we've got an FC Dallas player down now. And we commented on it earlier that with Jacob Peterson being forced out of this game after a hard foul, being injured, and Nagamura just undercut Ulloa there. It's always scary when a player lands hard like that.
I think maybe just the wind was knocked out from Ulloa. Tough landing. I think we'll see him get back up here.
Certainly hope that's the case. FC Dallas have just one more substitution, and I'm sure that Oscar Pareja does not want to have to use that on a player that he just subbed into the game at halftime, which is the case with Ulloa. I'm sure he would like to use that to save the legs of at least one of his other players who started this match, who might have to play this weekend. Ulloa is back to his feet now, seems to be okay.
Well, and if you're FC Dallas, you can take solace in the fact that, all right, this was not the game that you envisioned, the game plan coming into. You knew you were going to be shorthanded. You have a league match coming up. What positives can you take away? Well, that goal was certainly a positive.
I try to win the second half. That's still on the table. But it's 5-1 Sporting Kansas City. 4 goals in the first half for Sporting. 3 from Dom Dwyer. 1 from Christian Namath, and then another goal from Namath on a beautiful chip here in the second half. And then the goal for FC Dallas coming from Michael Barrios, 24-year-old from Colombia. His first goal in any competition this season. And now here comes Teixeira, denied by Melia. And Melia is able to claim it.
Sporting left a little bit napping at the back. This ball gets in behind Matt Beasler, and Tim Melia comes up huge for Sporting Kansas City. So you can see that through ball, just a simple little ball in behind. Teixeira has to, Beasler does a great job to catch up and make it a little bit more difficult.
Stood him up a little bit.
Sure, and helping Tim Melia, but a great save by Tim Melia, continues his fine form.
Sporting Kansas City have also got to maintain their concentration through this game, even though the result might feel like it's already in the bag. Espinoza gets it forward to Dia, and his cross is deflected out for a corner.
When I thought Dia might have got away with a little bit of shove to retain possession of that ball, but not called, and you take what the referee gives you.
And since Graham Zusi is off at the Gold Cup, and Benny Feilhaber's been subbed off in this game, Christian Namath will now try to show what he can do when it comes to taking corners. And he puts it over everybody. Good effort from Saad Abdul Salam to keep it in.
When I'm always keeping an eye on Dom Dwyer, because the way he is getting manhandled it's just, and to be fair, I would do the same thing. What are you going to do? He's such a handful, but it is something to watch for, because at any given moment with a screenshot, he's just being, what's the word I'm looking for without crossing a line
bear
here?
hugged.
There you go. There we go.
Well, how's your father, possibly? But that's something that we just rarely see called for any team at any level. Contact in the area on set pieces and corners.
Well, there's a difference between getting in the way of impeding a run and just flat out grabbing a hold of someone. And you know, to be fair, Sporting Kansas City probably are guilty themselves at times. It's like in football, you can call holding on any given play.
Right.
Sort of the same idea.
We'll have our third and final substitution for FC Dallas. Hollingshead's day is done. And now we've got another foul against FC Dallas. And a yellow card shown to Walker Zimmerman in the 68th minute.
Well, it's a great quick touch by Espinoza. I'm interested to see, as we take a look here, how much contact there really was. Just slight contact, but it's extremely dangerous to have your cleat up in that position anyway. But a good quick touch there from Roger Espinoza.
If I didn't mention it, it's Alex Zendejas who came on to replace Hollingshead. Well, Andy, if Sporting Kansas City can connect here, they'll at least tie the result that you were a part of.
That's right. Keep in mind this.
And remember, there weren't near as many people watching that game as there were this one.
We were a PDL side.
Right.
For some reason, we decided it was a good idea to play out of a 3-5-2.
Interesting.
Instead of packing it in, 3 penalty kicks, 3 breakaways was the result.
Interesting strategy, Cotton. Looks like it'll be Dwyer or Mustavar. Most likely Dwyer. It is Dwyer. And it's Dwyer with 4 goals on the night. Dom Dwyer cannot stop scoring in the U.S. Open Cup.
We have seen some absolutely class finishes here tonight. And this is no different. What a set piece here from Dom Dwyer. There's nothing Chris Seitz can do. You set your wall up, it's in a good spot. This ball just comes up and down, and it's so quick. You cannot react as a goalkeeper to that. There's nothing you can do. What a finish, Dom Dwyer. Like you said, 4 on the night. He'll remember this one.
And in one match, Dom Dwyer has now put himself in a tie for 4th place all time in U.S. Open Cup goal scoring in franchise history. The only players in franchise history who have scored more goals than Dom Dwyer in their career in U.S. Open Cup games for this franchise: Davey Arno, C.J. Sapong, and Igor Simatenkov, who each have scored 5. Now Dom Dwyer's got 4, and it's all in one game. And it's 6-1 Sporting Kansas City. Still 20 minutes to go in this match. And the wind is starting to pick up here as the skies are darkening at Sporting Park. We talked about the fact there's been some severe weather in the Kansas City metropolitan area tonight. The suburb of Lee's Summit, a tornado touched ground moments before kickoff here. Now that's on the opposite side of the metropolitan area, but it goes to show you that there are some threatening skies all over the place.
Yeah, we pray that everyone's safe in that area. Did not look good.
Whenever the wind starts picking up, if you live in the Midwest, you know that's a telltale sign oftentimes that the weather could be headed your way. We don't know that here. But it has been pouring goals for Sporting Kansas City tonight. 6-1 over FC Dallas. 4 from Dom Dwyer, 2 from Christian Nemeth. And we've talked a lot, Andy, early in the season about how Dom Dwyer was not in good goal-scoring form. He was getting several opportunities, some really good opportunities, particularly on some great passes from Benny Feilhaber in the early portions of the season, and was just not putting them home. And he just felt all along that all he needed was a couple to find the back of the net for things to open up for him. And it seemed like it was a confidence thing at some point. We mentioned the missed penalty, or at least the saved penalty by Seitz early in the season. Now he goes up and he takes that free kick with just an amazing amount of confidence and places it right where he wants to.
Yeah, he definitely has his confidence back, and he's a guy that never is lacking confidence. Even when he's struggling, he knows what type of player he is, and he puts it in on the effort standpoint, and that's what he makes up for.
Costa fires a shot, and he found Melia off balance, and he places it in the back, and it's 6-2 now, the score line. Acosta was given space in the middle of the pitch. He had a shot. It seemed to catch Melia almost off guard a little bit.
Well, it had to have been deflected. I didn't really even.
Right.
I'm sure we'll get another look at it, but that's the only explanation I can give. As we take a look, just shot from distance, a lot of space, why not? And for sure.
Yep, it bounced off the back of Matt Beasler.
That's the only explanation. I just didn't see it clean from the live look.
Right.
And that's just unfortunate. We've seen a couple times that's happened to Sporting, but that's why you shoot the ball. You never know what can happen, and you can't score goals unless you shoot. That's what they say, right, Nate?
Can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. Namath fouled this time. And now we'll have a substitution for Sporting Kansas City, their third and final. Connor Hallisey, another rookie for Sporting Kansas City, checking in for Christian Namath, who finishes the day with 2 goals. His first 2 goals in U.S. Open Cup play. Namath now with 9 goals on the season in all competitions. And the second one was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, you can hear the crowd react to Namath's departure here. A well-deserved standing ovation. You said it, that goal he scored was absolutely magic.
Well, since it is about you, Andy,
I'm back in, I know.
it's, I hate to report to you, but you're back in there. Here's a
here
through ball for Dom Dwyer. Can he get 5? He was chased down by Javon Watson. A heck of a ball from Roger Espinoza again, though.
He's had a few tonight, just absolutely great technique on a couple of these.
Here's Roger, directing traffic this time. He was looking for Abdul Salam. Broken up by Michel. 76th minute now. Sporting Kansas City 6, FC Dallas 2. Raining goals at Sporting Park.
Did it again, didn't you?
I couldn't help it. Sporting Kansas City have won 6 straight matches at home in all competitions, looking to make it 7 here. Nice job by Saad Abdul Salam that time to step in front of Escobar. He was going to fancy a chance there. Espinoza to Hallisey. And if you're wondering about the overall record just in U.S. Open Cup history, remember this is a competition that goes back to 1914. The most goals scored individually by one player in a game in U.S. Open Cup history is 6. It's happened several times. Kenny Cooper did it last year. So Dom Dwyer is 2 away from tying that record. He's already got the Sporting Kansas City franchise record here. He scored a hat trick in the first half, which is the first ever in Sporting Kansas City history in any competition. First ever hat trick in franchise history in U.S. Open Cup play. Escobar dispossessed by Mustavar. And now Espinoza. A lot of space right down the middle. He's got Hallisey, but decides to play it to Dwyer instead. Shot deflected this time. It was Michelle that got a piece to it.
And I think Espinoza, why not find Dom Dwyer with his goal form? But I think Hallisey would have been a little bit better of a decision there. His starting position was wide, and he was ready for the entire run that Espinoza made, but just wasn't rewarded.
Maybe Roger just wanted to see if he could help Dom Dwyer make more history. Nagamura intercepts. Got into a collision there. It's Nagamura again. Working around Ulloa. And now taken by Ulloa. Barrios, he scored one of the goals for FC Dallas. Tried to play it to Zendejas. It's a poor touch. 80th minute now at Sporting Park. Sporting Kansas City 6, FC Dallas 2. Sporting Kansas City have been absolutely dynamite at home this season, especially after the first 3 games. They had a couple of disappointing draws at home early. They haven't lost at home yet this season.
You would have thought the world was coming to an end when they had a few draws at home and
0-0 against Portland. Yep. People were freaking out.
And this is what this stadium should be every time. I mean, just a fortress. I remember coming in as an opposing player and winning, and it felt like winning the World Cup here, partly because it's my hometown, but also just the fact that you know how difficult it is to do.
So what is the difference this year? I mentioned 6 wins in a row, and now about to become 7. 6 wins all last season at home. Dom Dwyer fell from behind. So what's the biggest difference?
Well, I think it's personnel and just understanding the system. I think the way that this coaching staff has these players clicking right now and just the depth that they've had has been huge for this team. I mean, we've seen a number of injuries, and to be able to come out of that unscathed, especially at home, is just impressive.
What about the idea, for one thing, that you see so many teams come and bunker in against Sporting Kansas City, having a player the quality of Christian Namath who can have that touch of quality to unlock a defense, just with that one goal can make such a big difference for Sporting Kansas City at home.
When you bunker in, you have to have that quality on the field to break down these teams, because if you don't, it's almost impossible unless you get a set piece or just something lucky happens. And Sporting Kansas City, we've talked about it, 5 players going forward that can do that have that quality, and it's just everything's flying right now. It's a good look.
Kevin Ellis called for the foul this time. And maybe the other part of that, one of the things that has really bitten Sporting Kansas City in years past, maybe particularly last year, when those teams do bunker in, causes Sporting Kansas City to bring players forward, and then they're susceptible on the counter. Sonny Mustavar seems to have really prevented so many of those potential counter-attacking opportunities.
And that's why that position is one of the most important in this system, because when you fly numbers forward on the attack, and then with a high press, it's sort of like a caveman style where it's just the next man up. You just go and pressure the ball and work together as a unit, and it can draw spaces out. And if you don't get the pressure on teams, they can take advantage of those spaces. So Mustavar's covered so much ground for this team.
And Mustavar deflects that ball from Acosta. Barrios forward now, tries to get around Ani Baba. Headed away by Ellis, but only as far as Michel. And we have final word now that the quarterfinal, assuming this score holds, which certainly should by this point, will be at Sporting Park July 21st, 7:30 against the Houston Dynamo. And for season ticket members, it is in your ticket package as Special Game A. Single game tickets will go on sale tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Time. It's been a great rivalry between Sporting Kansas City and the Houston Dynamo. Some very notable playoff games over the past few years, and there was a tremendous game down in Houston earlier this season that ended in a just absolutely crazy 4-4 draw. So you want to get your tickets for that matchup. Again, July 21st, 7:30 for quarterfinal action. Sporting Kansas City and Houston Dynamo at Sporting Park. And again, if you're a season ticket member, it is in your ticket package as Special Game A. We've got a man down for FC Dallas now. It's Michel. And FC Dallas are out of substitutes, by the way, at this point, with less than 10 minutes remaining. Looks like Michel is going to be able to press on. Peter Vermees still coaching. 6'2", he's out there. I think that Vermees is the kind of guy, no matter what the scoreline is, can ever comfortably sit in the technical area and just watch.
Well, and to Oscar Pereira's credit, he's doing the same. He's willing his guys on through this difficult match, and that's what you want to see out of your coach, not someone that's going to maybe sit on the in a chair with his arms folded or something like that. He's been out really being positive with his players.
Here's Anibaba getting forward. Trying to roll it through to Nagamura. It's deflected out for a corner. Touch last by Michel. Now I think it's Connor Hallisey to take this corner. 85th minute. Hallisey plays it back to Beasler. And right back to Hallisey. He'll lump this one in. Didn't take that one as well as he would have liked. Now a chance for Barrios to get off and running. There is Sony Mustavar.
Unbelievable.
Perfectly
recovery.
timed tackle and a recovery. We've said it so many times this season.
And that's why, on a set piece, it can be extremely dangerous. If a ball that comes out like that, if you don't put it back into the mixer, as we call it, with that many numbers forward, if you underhit it, the counterattack can be on, and Mustavar does well to cover up any counterattack that FC Dallas might have had.
Not sure what the injury is for Barrios here. It did not appear that there was any contact from Mustavar. It was a gut-busting run from Barrios. And speaking with Peter Vermees about what has made Mustavar so special for Sporting Kansas City, one of the things that he pointed out, and I don't know how often you say this in his position, but especially considering some of the other players that we see in the work rate that they put in for Sporting Kansas City, he has covered more ground than basically any other player for Sporting Kansas City since he has worked his way into the starting 11. You're talking about guys like Graham Zusi and Seth Sinovic and Roger Espinoza. He is putting in more mileage in these games than players like that. That really says something.
And that's part of that position. It's one of the job descriptions. You have to be able to cover that ground, hide any mistakes going forward, be in the right spots.
And very little of the glory. I mean, you're not going to get many opportunities on goal. Not even many opportunities for assists. He has no goals, no assists. In fact, 0 shots by Mustavar on the year. But man, easily could be stated that he has been the most valuable player, or one of the most, for Sporting Kansas City this year. Sporting killing off this game, leading 6-2 as we go to the 88th minute. Here is Mustavar. Baba dispossessed by Ulloa. Espinoza recovers. Mustavar quickly switches. He was aware that the pressure was coming from Zendejas. Now Nagamura. Sporting Kansas City have faced FC Dallas just once before in U.S. Open Cup play. That was back in 2004. Sporting Kansas City won that one 4-0. That was on their way to a U.S. Open Cup championship, one of 2 in franchise history. Of course, that was back when they were the Wizards. Could it be a good omen for Sporting again to knock off FC Dallas, and handily so, here in 2015. It will require 3 more wins after today to hoist the trophy again. Mustavar with another interception. Espinoza looking forward for Dwyer. Watson got to it. Nine shots on goal from Sporting Kansas City, 6 goals. 4 shots on goal from FC Dallas, and that's turned into 2 goals. One on an unfortunate deflection off of Matt Beasler. Here's Dia to Dwyer, trying to chip it for Espinoza, and Roger was offside.
Well, you can't say this game lacked entertainment value, that's for sure.
Sporting Kansas City wasted very little time, scoring in the 5th minute. Dom Dwyer off a corner from Benny Feilhaber, and Dwyer again off a set piece from Feilhaber in the 30th minute. Then on a penalty in the 41st minute. And he also scored in the 70th. Christian Nemeth with the other 2 goals for Sporting Kansas City, one in the first half in stoppage time, and then one in the 59th minute in the second half. Being told there will be no stoppage time in this match, and mercifully so. No reason to prolong this one. We've gone to 90 minutes. There's a foul on Amadou Dia. This should be the last action of the match. It's Michel. And out by Hallisey, and that is it. Sporting Kansas City notch 6 goals. They are victorious over FC Dallas in the round of 16. It's on to the quarterfinals for Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City 6, FC Dallas 2. Quarterfinal action will be July 21st at 7:30 here at Sporting Park. Sporting Kansas City will host the Houston Dynamo. Single game tickets will go on sale tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time. That game will be included in the season ticket package as special game A. We've had great crowds already for the first 2 matches of this competition for Sporting Kansas City. Rob Heineman, the team president, the CEO, was asking for a good crowd tonight because he said he had some recruits in town. I would imagine they were impressed with what they saw tonight.
I'd say this result speaks highly to maybe their decisions. Hopefully it's a big name player, huh? What do you think, Nate?
Well, one of the names in particular that Rob Heineman pointed out, a former Chelsea player has been thrown around. A couple of other names have been rumored as well, but no official business has been done yet in the transfer window for Sporting Kansas City. As we check in now, Jake Yodrich will be on the sideline with Peter Vermees, who's still busy shaking some hands. Here's Jake Yodrich standing by with Peter Vermees.
This matchup, could you have expected what happened here this evening?
Well, I always feel that if we go out and play with the intensity that we're capable of, and also with the attacking options that we have, that we can score goals, no doubt. We were good tonight. We were good tonight going in. Dom and Nemeth, those 2 guys were on fire. Great combination between the 2 of them. And I can't say enough about the rest of the team and the work ethic.
And this obviously goes into a weekend where you guys are off from play. How big is it to give this team a little bit of rest before what's going to be another tough stretch with MLS, Open Cup MLS in short time?
Yeah, especially not only that, but you also take into account that we've lost a couple guys to international play. And so we got to get some more bodies back. It was nice to see Nagamura get 30 minutes tonight. Those pieces are important for us, but we can use a little time off here to get recovered and ready for the next stretch.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, you can get 50% off regular medium price pizzas using promo code SportingKC at Papa John's.
Congratulations, man. And Dom, I imagine you got to feel really happy that your team has advanced to the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open Cup, but I would imagine you got to be disappointed with the way you played tonight. Didn't really do too much on your end.
Yeah, it was a miss hit the free kick, and the headers weren't quite going in tonight, so it was okay now. Now we're very happy with the win tonight. It was a good solid performance, and disappointed to let in a couple goals, but we thought we played really well tonight.
And was there anything different about tonight that maybe you felt beforehand or that you felt out there on the field that led you to have such a breakout game?
No, I think my luck's finally turning, so.
That's it.
That's it.
It's all about love. Well, that's fine, but also you guys go into a break now where you won't have a league game this weekend. You'll get back into it next weekend, a tough trip at Vancouver, and then you'll have a quick turnaround for here against Houston. How much of importance is this rest going to be before you head into a tough week?
It's going to be good. We've got some tired legs, and I think a little bit of rest will do us good. Get back in, recharge, and get ready for the next game.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, mate.
Can we do name it, but not on the scoreboard?